Hi, my name is Kate Conkey. I work for the Vail School District, and today I'm going to be presenting to you how to use Jamboard and how to use Schoology to build student engagement in your classroom. So Arizona has recently adopted a new set of tech standards. Using Jamboard and Schoology falls right into Standard 6, which allows students to communicate using a variety of platforms and formats and tools. These are both great ways to get into this standard. Later on in the presentation, after presenting all of the information, you'll be able to pause and take time to create a task to use in your classroom using Jamboard or Schoology or both. So I'll spend time getting to show you around Jamboard first, and then I will go into the Schoology discussion posts. Most of you are very familiar with Schoology. I'm not trying to reteach you everything about that. Just really highlighting one thing that Schoology offers that might be interesting to use in your classroom. And then you'll be also able to see examples of previous lessons that I've used personally inside my classroom, and then hopefully take time to create your own. So I know that you're by yourself, maybe not able to talk to anybody else, but I want you to think about what might be stopping you from incorporating technology into your classroom. I know a lot of times it can be scary to learn a new program. A lot of times it can feel time-consuming to learn a new program, and sometimes it doesn't seem worth the the added planning and time that it takes to incorporate this into your classroom, to teach students about it, all of those things. But I do want to highlight the fact that learning technology doesn't have to be scary. With Jamboard, it doesn't take very long to plan. With Schoology, it doesn't take very long to plan. So it doesn't mean hours of learning something new. But the great part about using Jamboard and Schoology in your classroom is that it can involve every student, and it really helps build up that student engagement piece where they are working on the task at hand, and they can also work together on that task at hand. Okay. So getting to know Jamboard. Jamboard is a Google app, so most of us in Vail use Google for many things. It can be found on Chromebooks, so students can use it. It can be found on MacBooks, and it can be found on iPads. Anywhere that you can access an app store, you can find it. If you're going onto your Google desktop, you're going to click on these squares right here, the square of dots, and then you're going to scroll down, and it looks like a J but made out of a circle and a rectangle, and that is Jamboard. And then when you click on Jamboard, it's going to take you to this kind of screen right here, and you can see these are all Jamboards that I've created in the past, and I'll show you those later on. When you're wanting to create a new one, you're going to go down here to the bottom right and click on the new Jam, the plus sign there, and it should bring up a blank Jamboard. So really what a Jamboard is, it's just a digital whiteboard. That's all it really is. It's a great tool because students can do everything digitally. It saves everything digitally. But there's no mess to clean up, and students can share each other's Jamboards, and you can work together. So I'm going to show you how to set one up. You're going to want to title it anything that you want to title it. I'll title this one Test Jamboard. Okay. And then you can see here in the top that you can add any amount of whiteboards that you possibly could want there. Just like a Google Doc or a Google Sheet, you can share it here, and you can enter each student's email address manually here, or you can copy the link and you can share that on a Schoology page or in an email. If you are going to allow students to use the Jamboard, write on it, edit it, you are going to want to change this restricted to anyone with the link. That way they can access that link. And then from here, we have some tools. You have a pen. The pen I don't use very often because it's very hard to write with a trackpad, but you are able to do any kind of writing that you would like. Eraser is down here. You can also erase any, or I'm sorry, that's a pointer. Sorry, excuse me. This pointer, let's go down here. The eraser is down below, and it can allow you to erase anything that you did create. And then the one that my students like the most is the Post-it note. So students are able to share their ideas using this fourth one down, which is a sticky note. And you can change the color within reason here, 5 different colors, or no color at all. You can change the color, and you can write your idea. I think that paragraph 2 has the most evidence. Okay, and you can save it, and it goes right onto the whiteboard, and they can move it. You can make it bigger. It's a great way for groups to share their thinking, or students to share their thinking in a safe environment, because you'll see that my name isn't anywhere on here. So it's really nice to have a check-in. Students who are normally afraid to tell you how they're feeling could do that very anonymously and safe here. Students are also able to add pictures. Since this is a Google document, a Google supported app, you are able to go onto Google and click any image that you want, and anything pulls up in Google. So they're able to pick any kind of clip art, and they can add it pretty easily into Jamboard itself. Shapes here, they can circle something, make a Venn diagram, anything like that. And then here, if they don't want to do the freehand drawing, which is kind of hard unless you have an iPad with a pen, they can add a text box, and they can write anything in the text box. If you are trying to highlight something that a student said and asking for student input, the laser here is a great tool to do that. You can say, well, what do you think about this Post-it note right here? And the great part about it is it goes away immediately, so you're not, really marking up their work long term. So those are great tools. Another great way to use Jamboard is to set a background. So you can see here that these are preset backgrounds. If you were ever wanting to do the dot game, you can do that. If you were ever wanting to use it for lined paper, or grid paper, if you're doing math assignments, you can do that. The great part about it is you can also add another template. Same thing applies. You can go to Google Images. Say you want to do a graphic organizer. You can type in a graphic organizer that you are hoping for students to use. It could be a 3 Venn diagram. It could be just a 2 Venn diagram. You can set that as your frame background, and then this is kind of stuck there, and students can work around it. So this doesn't move the background. In the past, I've used it with teams. So if you want each team to have this Venn diagram, but you don't want to have to set background on 6 different Google Jamboards or however many groups you have in your classroom, the great part about that is you can always go to I'm sorry, let me show you. You're going to click on the expand frame bar, and then you click on the 3 dots on the right hand side, and you can duplicate the page. That way you're not having to make it from scratch every single time that you want a new page. I recommend that when you start this, you do start it with table groups or team groups, and you can do that pretty easily just by writing team 1 here or table 1 into the corners. That way you only have 5 or 6 students on one whiteboard at a time. And that way there's not 28, 30 students all trying to vie for space on one whiteboard. So as we go into presentation here, So that was getting to know Jamboard, where it was. Now we'll go into how you can actually use it, or why you can actually use it into your classroom. So the great thing about Jamboard is all students can respond at the same time. You can see student work. As soon as it's posted, you see it, it's right there. It's great for immediate feedback, and it's great for students to show their thinking in a variety of ways. You can use it in all elements of EEI, from anticipatory set to closures to group work to guided practice. And it's really freeing to use in all subjects. You can do a multiplication, division, sort for math. In 5th grade, we do word problems with fractions, and students have a hard time determining if it's a division or multiplication or a subtraction or an addition problem. Younger grades in kindergarten can do word sorts or letter sorts. It's just a great way to incorporate different subjects into Jamboard. If you don't like sharing it or don't like making a new Jamboard, one year I just kept adding to the same Jamboard. Students were very comfortable with getting there, and they were able to just go to, whiteboard number 15 as the year went on, or 30 as the year went on. And so it kind of just showcased all of our work in this Jamboard, almost like a yearbook kind of thing, where they could see all of their memories from their lessons. And it's also a great way to have them, use notes. If you ever want to use it to teach theme or reading lessons, they can always access that by going back to it. So here, just to give you some examples of ones I've used in my class. One year we did a cause and effect lesson where students were trying to get the cause of the effect of no eggs at the grocery store. So students had to come and work in pairs and talk about what might be causing the no eggs at the grocery store. So it was a real world problem that they had to kind of think about. So you can see their ideas there. I also did the missing effect and the cause. So the cause is no eggs at the grocery store. What could be the effect of that? And students had to share out with that. This is a social studies unit on the immigration coming into New York and the Industrial Revolution. So what does urbanization mean to you? And so you can see here that we have lots of different ideas, lots of different answers, and some of them were just completely not sure of, I don't know, but I recognize the word urban. And so a lot of them were safe to expand on their ideas or tell me that they didn't know, and we were able to hit those misconceptions right away. Here's a writing example where I gave them the idea, or the students came up with an idea of what they wanted to put into their essay, and then they worked as table groups to tell me the best piece of text evidence that supports that idea. And then here's another cause and effect one. This is kind of a cumulative project over the 2-week lesson. This was the HP opportunity where students had to talk about how Mickey Mouse has changed American culture and how it's, come so far from the beginning, in the 1920s when it was just an idea to what we know of Mickey Mouse now. And so students were able to, complete a cause and effect chart over here. They made a timeline down here. Students were able to pull in, videos and pictures on their own, and that was all relatively easy. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. This is one that we did just this year where it really builds higher level thinking to do examples and non-examples. So you can see here that on the top of the Jamboard, I put some yellow post-it notes, and there were quite a few here. You can see that they're all down below now, and they had to take the theme example and put it into either if they thought it was an example of theme or a non-example of theme, and then talk about why. And this is just one table's ideas. We came back to this as a whole group and talked about why, lying always catches up with you might not be a great theme, but, how can we change that to a great theme that's positive? And so this just opens up doors for students to not only share their ideas, and every student to share their idea, but it also gives them a way to provide student feedback as well with working as a group. So Jamboard and classroom management, this ties into another tech standard, which is digital citizen. You need to be able to teach students about respect on the internet and how to manage that and set up some clear expectations. So it is a piece that does take a little bit of time and a little bit of management to incorporate into your day. But the end is worth it for the 15-20 minutes you have to spend on digital guidelines. So to make it easier for yourself, try to remember to duplicate those slides. Don't recreate. So for that slide for theme, for example, I wrote all the Post-it notes and I created that T-chart, and then I just duplicated it 6 times for each group. And that saved me a lot of time and energy. For students, you're really having to set up those parameters, what's expected, what's not expected, what's encouraged, what's not encouraged. I really recommend that you create separate pages for groups or for pairs. And then just remember that Jamboard, the great part about it is it doesn't have the version history. So it gives students that safe space to write what they might be really feeling. But it doesn't have a version history, so you can't tell who's saying what. And that also might be a negative part about that. So proximity when using Jamboard is really important. You're going to want to walk around and monitor students, provide feedback that way as well. Other ideas for using Jamboard. So this is a article that I screenshotted and downloaded into the Jamboard. I saved it as a background, and you can see that students are able to annotate with text boxes off to the side. You can even use a highlighter, a digital highlighter, and highlight the text. It's a great tool to use for students who might be struggling with those, hand-eye coordination skills, writing skills. You can upload any Canva image into the background as well. So if you have something that you were working on with Canva, that can also be moved over. Another great idea for using Jamboard is to have, as the year goes on, and maybe in 4th quarter after ASA testing, you have ways for students to work together and complete projects or posters. Use this as a digital way to do that. Students can bring in pictures. They can talk about what they're learning. They can talk about text elements or text features with subtitles or captions. It's a great way to get students involved in the digital world. Okay, now going on to Schoology, getting to know Schoology discussion posts. So Schoology discussion posts is just one small aspect of Schoology. I'm sure that you know a lot about it, but if you're using Schoology and you want to use discussion posts, you go to the Add Materials button, and you can do this inside of a folder or just on a page, and you're going to go right down here to where it says Add Discussion. Okay, it's under Materials, and you can put it into any folder that you would like to. What that does is it allows students to all respond to a question at the same time, but it also gives you just a chance to see it all in one area. So at Ocotillo Ridge, we do literature studies where students are expected to read chapters with the teacher and then answer questions, and these questions just build on the literature standards that we've taught throughout the year. So it's a great way to just spiral in those reading standards, get them very comfortable with the concepts. But most of the time, students are asked to do this on a Google Doc. Take notes on a Google Doc, answer on a Google Doc. And while that's great, and they're working on typing skills and all this, it can be inconvenient or time-consuming to check on 20 different Google Docs and trying to find them in your space on Google. And so having students take notes on their Google Doc but answer a question on Schoology just is a really fast way, more efficient way to check in with their thinking and respond to it in a timely manner. A great part about Schoology discussion posts is towards the end of the bottom of it, as you're setting up the assignment, you can circle this, click on this box, make sure it's checked green, and that allows students it doesn't allow students to see responses from other students until they post a response as well. This just sets them up for high school and even college when you're doing discussion posts. Discussion posts, unlike Jamboard, it can be trickier to embed them into every part of the EEI lesson. These really work best as independent practice, maybe just a quick check-in for reading or for math. I really like using these in literature studies. It's a great way to just see their responses right away and give immediate feedback. And you can even set up a Schoology page or a folder that is just literature study and have them just there. So here you can see examples that I have. The author compares Homer and the slave. So we're talking about the mostly true stories of Homer P. Fig. And you can see here that I asked them to compare Homer to the runaway slaves that are hiding in the basement. And I love that the students can also respond to their classmates. So this is another great way to work on that digital citizenship and that respect. So you can see here, like, great work, but there's more to it. I agree, because of this. And so students are really working on the quality of feedback that they're given and not just saying, great job or wonderful thinking. It's really a great way to build student community inside the classroom. Schoology and classroom management, it's easier to create posts. You can model answers on Schoology, and that's really beneficial for teaching those expectations. For students, it's a great way. It's a very authentic way to teach respect, teach clear expectations for responses and answers, what that looks like for you in your classroom. And it's just a great way to tie in those character education pieces that we're teaching this year. Okay. So I hope from here you take time to explore more with the Jamboard and explore more with Schoology discussion posts. Maybe try to create an assignment or a project that you could work on, at a future date in the next few weeks. It's my hope that this gave you more ideas in a more efficient way, and not adding just one more thing to your plate. So thank you for watching, and thank you for participating. I hope that this helps with your technology endeavors in the classroom.